Hello, this is Bakayaro here with another Movecraft tutorial. I wanted to make a series of tutorials showing how to use Movecraft with automated systems. So these are systems that do cool things for your server, yet do not require a pilot. You don't have to have a player sitting there manning whatever craft it is that you're going to use. So the first thing I'm going to show you, and the easiest one to do, is buildings that simply fall down if you do enough damage to them. So I'm going to be burning down this bridge, and then I'm going to be blowing up that tower. It's important to note, I didn't make the bridge or the tower. I downloaded those from Planet Minecraft. I simply saw them and figured they'd look good falling down. So I didn't make these. Credit to the original author, all that good stuff. This, I did make. This is the Shadow of the Deep, the infamous pirate submersible airship from the Airship Pirates series. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to hop in here, and you see these wooden struts on that bridge? It was foolish of them to make this bridge out of wood. So these are the fire guns, the side-firing fire guns. I'm just going to pull this trigger. Alright, that's enough. So, we are now burning the wooden struts on that bridge. Now, what do you think is going to happen if we burn away enough of that wood? Well, what would happen in the real world? I mean, sure, you could lose one or two struts, but once you lost enough of them, that bridge is going to come down. Anybody on that bridge is going to fall with it. Anyone underneath that bridge is going to be crushed by it, right? It does take some time to burn through all that wood, but eventually... well, at least I hope so. There we go. Down it goes. Crash. And once again, if you are underneath that, you would be crushed by it. And it's going to keep burning, of course. Alright, so, so that's kind of cool. So if you have a building that's comprised largely of wood, you can set it on fire, burn it down, and it will eventually fall. Okay, now we're going to go up a bit here. So let's see, let's take control of the ship. There we go. And it's still burning. I'll use direct control mode and just send the ship up. Alright, now there's that tower. So I have not satisfied my appetite for destruction merely by burning down that bridge. I need more. Okay, so I once had a friend, well, still have a friend, and we were talking a couple months ago, and I was extolling the virtues of Minecraft to this friend, and he was saying, well, and I was talking about Movecraft, the plugin that I've been working on, and he was saying, and how cool it was that airships could crash and stuff. And he was saying, well, tell me when you can have a whole building that collapses due to damage, like one of his favorite games. Well, now we can do that. So I'm going to go down here onto the side gun deck here. Alright, and I'm going to pull this trigger. It comes crashing down. And once again, anyone inside that building is going to have a real bad day. Crash. The only thing missing is sound effects. I don't know. Maybe one of these days I need to put together a resource pack and have the plugin actually play sounds, like, crashing sounds when things hit the ground. So there you go. Nothing left but a pile of rubble. There you go, bandit. Alright, so let me put this back the way it was. Scan load temp. So I saved a copy of this before I blew it up. And there it is. I fell through the ship because the ship disappeared while I was standing on it. Which, it's hard to stand on something that isn't there. Okay, anyway. So there's our tower and our bridge once again. Okay, so how does this work? How did this magic happen? Okay, so I use another plugin called CB Wrapper, along with Movecraft. Now, what does CB Wrapper do? Well, it impersonates a player. In other words, it makes other plugins, including worldedit, worldguard, and Movecraft, it makes those plugins believe players are doing things. Okay? So, in this case, all we have to do is pilot a craft which represents this bridge and a separate craft which represents that tower. Alright? So we have two command blocks here. One for the tower, one for the bridge. And you'll note they're hooked up to daylight sensors. Why? So that every time it goes from night, time set night, and that'll go off, and then it goes to day. Let's see, we'll do 11,000 so we get a nice shadow. It repilots those crafts. It only has to pilot it once per server boot. So that's why I have it on a daylight sensor, so that it's not being repiloted all the time. And if you're worried about resources, a craft that is not moving consumes essentially 0 resources on the server. I mean, not literally 0. It consumes like 1K of memory or something. Maybe a bit more, but seriously, it's not much. Don't worry about it. So let me show you what the command here actually is. This is CB Wrapper syntax. So we have CW, the CB Wrapper command, space -U. This means it's going to impersonate a user named building2. Okay? So -U, and then the username you want it to impersonate, building2. And then -O means the offset, where it's going to execute this command. Okay? So in this case, it's going to execute this command as if a player named building2 was standing on the block that is 48 blocks positive to the X. That probably doesn't make any sense, but so what you do is you look at you hit F3 and you look at your X, Y, and Z, right? So if I am here and then I go 48 blocks this way, you'll see that that puts me about here. So the CB Wrapper plugin is going to impersonate a player named building2 executing a command standing here. Alright? And what command are they going to use? Well, it's a Movecraft command, which is pilot space and then the craft type you're going to pilot, which is building. So this user at this location will be piloting a craft named building. Simple. That's it. That's all the magic. If you already understand how to use Movecraft, how to build craft files, now you understand everything else you need to know to make this happen. And then for the bridge, it's exactly the same, except that the username is different. Now, why do you have to have a different username? Well, what happens if one user tries to command 2 different airships or crafts in Movecraft? Well, he releases the first one, right? Because that's how it works. One user can't pilot 2 different crafts. So that's why we have to have a different user now at a different location, and if I were to move 6 blocks positive to the X, I would be standing on the bridge and once again piloting a building. So that's it. That's all you have to do. And then the Movecraft engine takes care of the rest because of the options we have set in the craft file. And let's talk about that next. Okay, so here is that craft file, the building.craft, and I'll include a copy of this in the description. So as you can see, it's a very simple, or not, well, simple isn't the right word, it's just like a regular craft file. Okay, I have a max size, a min size, you can change these of course. All of the allowed blocks are listed here. So if you know Movecraft, then you know that the way it works is all of these blocks that are found near the person initiating the piloting command, the location where the piloting command was initiated, will be merged into the craft. So if you want to get a specific building, and you want to find out what's in that building so that you know what to include in that list, you can use the //distr command. This is part of worldedit, and it lists every single block type. These numbers over here are what you're looking for. This is everything that's inside that specific object. Okay, So if you're looking for what to put here, you can use the //distr command in order to find that out. And then forbidden blocks, yeah, we have to have that. I've just put in bedrock. That's kind of I use that for everything. Okay, blocked by water, true. It doesn't really apply to a building because they don't move, but hey, sure, it'll be blocked by water. Can cruise, false. Of course not. You're not going to have a building cruising around. Collision explosion, no. Again, it's not going to move. Speed 5. I've only done speed 5 because of the sink speed. It doesn't actually matter. I could set this to anything. Try nudge, false. You have to have that. Sink percent. So this is... Will you cause it to sink according to the fly blocks? In other words, if 99% of... Let's see. No. If less than 99% of the fly blocks are remaining, will it sink? And then the next is the sink speed, 5. So it's going to sink pretty rapidly. That's pretty fast. Smoke on sink, 0. I could set this to 1, and then it would smoke as it sank, although I tried that and I didn't like the way it looked. Explode on a crash, 0. I'm not having buildings explode as they fall down. You could do that, and it's kind of cool, but I liked it better without. Overall sink percent. This is probably what you'll actually use for buildings, although, I don't know, it depends. For example, if you had a building that was half wood and half stone, and you wanted to make it so that if enough of the wood is destroyed, it will sink, well, you could do that using the fly blocks, or you could just do an overall sink percent like I've done here. So what I'm saying here is, if less than 95% of the total blocks remain, the building should fall down. You can tweak these numbers until you have it crashing when you want it to crash, but just be aware of what all these do. And then these last two. Allow horizontal movement? No. Allow vertical movement? No. What we're saying is, you can't move these. These don't move. And also, if I was on a public server, I would also make it so that no one had rights to this craft file. In other words, through the permissions, nobody has the movecraft.building.pilot or movecraft.building.rotate rights. Because I don't want players using this. This is not for players. This is for these buildings to fall down. Okay? Okay, so let's run through this one more time. So we have these command blocks back here which are attached to daylight sensors. So if I do time set night, and look at that tower at night. Oh, it's kind of cool. Anyway. Okay, special thanks to Sonic Aether's Unbelievable Shaders, which is what I'm using to have this cool lighting. And then I do time set 11,000. That is going to activate these blocks, which is going to cause these buildings over here to be piloted. And then I can go in here and start a few fires. And more fires. Quite the pyro. That should be enough. And while we're waiting for that to burn, we'll pack some TNT in here. I'm not sure I should be standing on this bridge. What do you think? Smoke coming from it. That's usually not a good sign. Ah! Okay, anyway, I'm gonna jump off. And there it comes crashing down. And then we have our actual tower here. Okay, and then that comes crashing down too. So you can use this in your adventure maps, assuming that they're based on servers. And you can carry out some very impressive effects with it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Please like it and subscribe it if it's been helpful to you, and I will see you next time.